everyone. Today I Aishwarya will invite you all in another qubits HTM qubit session. HTM qubits are a series of sessions that provide great insights to hackers and are designed to improve their technical, non-technical, and soft skills altogether. Today we have with us Hakeem Onayemi, an entrepreneur leading StyleFit Africa. He serves as a financial consultant and CAD Modeling Specialist in Energaia Consultants. He is also first NACOS National Academic Director, demonstrating his commitment to education and leadership. Hi Onami Hakeem, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm really happy for today's event, and it's a great pleasure to grace this event. As you say, thank you very much. I'm Onoyemi Hakeem Ademola, also known as Ademola Code in the tech world, and I'm the founder of StyleFit Africa and also the first NACOS Now academic director. And also, I'm a financial analyst and also a 3D SAP modeling specialist at Energaia Consultants. So it's a great pleasure that I'm here and I'll be doing justice to the topic before me. Thank you.
We are also happy to have you. So we can start with the session.
Okay. All right, let me take the time to share my screen. Coming. So, okay, I am coming now. Okay, let me upload the slide. Is it coming up there? Okay, it's loading. All right, can you see my screen? Hello, can you see my screen? Can you let me know? Hello. All right, thank you very much. I can see that. Okay. Without wasting much of our time, thank you once again for having me here today, and I'll be discussing on the role of failure in innovation. First and foremost, if we look at today's technological world, there are a lot of innovations coming up, and at the long run, we discover that some of this innovation is going to run for some while, then it fails. What are the things that cause the failure? What are the challenges and some other things that we need to know so that as we go forward, we will be able to know the right thing to do before we implement whatever idea or innovation that we have. First, let's look at the content we are going to cover. So today we are going to look at the redeeming of failure. Also, we look at the redefining of failure. We look at learning from failure, iterative design in terms of what can we do when it comes to failure. Then risk-taking culture, overcoming fear of failure, and also we're going to look at failure as feedback. We're going to look at perseverance. Thereafter, we look at the failure versus give up, because there is difference between failure and giving up. So also after that we go into the question and answer. Then if we look at this, it says what is innovation? First, innovation is often associated with success, groundbreaking ideas, transformative breakthrough, and so many other information that might be needed when it comes to defining innovation. However, a lot of people don't know that failure plays a lot of role when it comes to innovation journey. And this topic is going to information that relates to failure in the concept of innovation. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is redefining failure. Mind you, like I said, we have 8 items to look into. The first one is redefining failure. How do we redefine the failure that we have? First, failure refers to the inability of a particular approach, idea, or project to achieve its intended goals or expected outcome. So when you look at failure in the approach of what will enable you to achieve your goals, then failure won't be a situation whereby you are going to give up. Rather, it's going to be what is going to propel you to do more and to come up with an excellent result. When we go further, it says it's important to know that failure in innovation is not viewed as permanent, insurmountable setback. When you encounter failure while you are innovating, don't see it as a setback. See it as a challenge for you to scale through. See it as an obstacle that you must break through, an obstacle that you must find a solution to in order to become a successful human being and also a successful innovator. Then we look at the second, what benefits do you get from failure? When you look at the first, the slide says was redefining failure. When you redefine the failure, what are the benefits you get? The first one is the learning opportunity. When you encounter failure, you are going to have the opportunity to learn from the outcome of the failure. Because when you don't encounter failure, you can't know exactly what next to do in order to achieve the breakthrough. That's the first thing. It gives you the learning opportunity. I could remember when I was developing StyleFit, I got to a point I want to create comment and reply. I couldn't get it right. I did it for like 4 times. I failed. Then I sat down, make a research severally. After my research, then I sat down on my own, give it an hand tracing idea. What I mean by hand tracing idea, I mean I sat down and says, okay, for example, I want to reply my friend about something. Okay, if he send me something, how will I see it? It must show here. Okay, when it shows here, I need to reply. How will it happens? Whereby it's going to appear directly under that content. Then when I was able to carry out that activities on my own, explaining to myself, I returned back to the code and I began to interpret what I say into a code. At the long run, I was able to break through. Meanwhile, I have no idea about comment and reply right from the inception. So that is what makes me to break through that field, which is a learning opportunity for me. I was able to learn and make research. If I don't encounter that failure 5 times, I won't go ahead to read more. I won't go ahead to make more research in order to know how to do it right. The second thing you're going to encounter, which is going to be a benefit to you, is the experimentation and risk taking. If you don't experiment, you cannot achieve your goal. If you don't take risk, you cannot achieve your goal. It is important that we try as much as possible to experiment whatever we are thinking in our heart, or whatever we are meditating or open to develop, try to experiment it, try it out. What do I mean by that is you have to
I think there might be some network issue. We are really sorry. The speaker will join us very shortly.
sorry, I got cut off by the network. I'm sorry for that. Okay, let me quickly share my screen again.
It's okay, Hakeem. There's no problem. Is your
All
net
right.
stable now?
Yeah, it's stable now.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
You can continue your session.
All right. Okay. Now, can you see my screen? All right. I was talking on experimentation. Now, when you experiment what you are about to do, that is your ideation. When you experiment it, how do you experiment? It's not compulsory you go straight to coding. First of all, try to make use of the traditional way, like doing it physically. For example, before I pick up the coding aspect of StyleFit, I went around my city communicating with every fashionistas, telling them, okay, I'm into this business. I will ensure that I will get you a lot of customers. And if you are ready to join my platform, when I get you customers, I'm going to get so percentage of share from the profit, from the proceed of the service, and you get paid after you've delivered your job. I have to discuss with them, and some of them buy the idea that okay, if you are going to be the one that will pay me, you get me a job, you will pay me, then get your own percentage. I'm fine. Okay. Then I began to do the paperwork. I did the paperwork for like 2, 3, 4 months. Then I discovered okay, I have people who like this idea and it works. Then I began to code it out. That, okay, let me turn it to digital instead of traditional way. So that's experimentation. If it can work on the physical realm, then you can turn it to a digital realm. And during that time, I take risk. That's why you have to take the risk also. So I take risk of paying the fashionistas after they've done the job. I will collect the job they do for me, pay them for their service, remove the percentage, then I will go to the user, which is the customer. I will go to them, deliver the product to them, get their payment from them. So now I turn into digital world where it can easily, everyone can easily register on the platform and do whatever they want to do. So that is the second aspect of the benefit of failure. If I have failed, then I will have think of more ways to achieve my goals. But at the first instance, I didn't fail the first aspect. So, and failure of past experiences is what makes me to go into experimentation. The next thing is iterative process. Ensure that during the process of innovation, you must carry out a series of trial and errors. You must carry out a series of trials, errors, refinement, and repetition. I call it TRRR, that's T3R. It's called trials, errors, refinement, and repetition. These 4 points is important when you want to carry out a new innovation. Try to reiterate your process. Look at it. If you do it this way, can it go the perfect way? Okay, if I make it digital, how will it favor both I and the customer and other people that will be using the platform? How will it be of benefit to the global world? Look at several things in common. As you are looking at the iterative process in terms of user, you must also look at the iterative process in terms of processing. That is the code processing aspect. Because when you have a good user experience and your code or your platform is very slow, then the experience will end up becoming a bad experience, and that will cause a lot of failure. And when you encounter that failure, you must ensure to reiterate on how to solve that failure in order to prevent any other issue. The next one is validation and refinement. Failure can be a means of validating hypotheses and assumptions. When you try what you are hoping to do and you fail, then you can take it as a hypothesis and your assumption that okay, if I do it this way, it's going to work. If I do it that way, it's not going to work. For example, I took when I developed Ola Cake, that is a platform for ordering of cake. I have no idea about cake. I don't know anything about cake, but I have the idea of turning the business into a place where people can do something. You know, after creating it, I regretted it. Why? Because it fails. It does not serve the purpose I created it for. I end up discovering that what I have created can only be used by just an individual company and not multiple number of people registering on the platform. So I fail. Then I look at it, I say, okay, instead of that, I will go ahead and create something else. So now, currently, I'm working on that aspect, rebranding it to be something that can be used for a lot of people and not just a single company. So that is the aspect of validation. You must try to use what you create that fail to validate your own hypothesis and assumption. When you're able to validate that, then your assumption, if they were incorrect, it will prompt you for more adjustment and refinement. By so doing, you end up to coming out in flying colors with good innovations. The next one is resilience and perseverance. You must be able to persevere. This is very, very, very important. Innovators who encounter failure but persevere through it often develop resilience. They learn to adopt, pivot, and continue to work towards their goals despite the setback. So if you are the kind of person that you find it very hard to persevere, I am telling you today go and adjust yourself. Go and adjust yourself. Why? Because you need that perseverance. It is very, very important when you are going into innovation. When you want to create a new idea, a new product into the market space, you must have a lot of perseverance, because there will be a time you will face a lot of challenges in that business, in that innovative idea that you are launching. How do you want to handle it? And that is when your staff, if you employ several people, being your staff or your team, that is when they will now be looking up to you as a leader, that what are you going to do. So part of being a good leader is the act of perseverance, and when you have that perseverance, it's going to help you to develop yourself more better in order to handle your failure. And by so doing, when you are able to handle your failure with perseverance, then it will develop your resilience. You will have that adaptation. You will have that ideology to pivot. When there's problem, you can take another angle, you can take another direction to achieve your success. You know, some people, once there is failure, they are down. So in the field of technology, and so as a someone who wants to go into innovation and development of idea, you have to have that perseverance and resilience, because every day a lot of technology is coming out, a lot of innovation is coming out, and if you are not careful, you end up getting lost in the midst of technology. So you have to have that perseverance. Don't let one issue to weigh you down. Then the next thing is incremental progress. You must try to ensure that you are taking your step one after the other in order to achieve your success. You must have a path you need to follow. If you don't fail, you cannot create a path. Take note of that. I will give you a good experience of this that I have when I was in the university at my 200 level. Then I was doing a course called MTH 211, that is mathematical method, dealing with calculus and the other. You know, I failed the course in my first time of obtaining the course. I failed it. Why? Because I have that belief that I'm good in mathematics, I'm going to pass the course, so I don't read it so much. I failed it. When I fail, I sat down again. I look at myself that, hey, remember, you are a first class student, you failed this also course. Okay, how do you want to achieve your goal again? Because this course is going to affect your CGPA. Then I sat down, pick up the book, draft a path for myself. On a daily basis, before I sleep, I make sure that I read about 3 to 4 pages, and I will solve every mathematical question that follows in that pages. At the long run, I did the exam the following semester. Guess what? I have my A, and I was able to maintain my position. That failure was what affected my CGPA then, which makes me to drop from first class to upper. But now, I learned from that. I was able to retake the subject, and I passed the course with A, from F to A, and still I graduated as one of the best students in my university with an award, a merit award. So that is what a failure does to every individual who take failure as a step to improve yourself and not a step to give up. Then we look at failure versus success. You must be able to know the difference between failure and success. When you look at many successful innovations, they are built on a foundation of previous failure. Go and check I think this platform, Telegram, I think it fails. Sometimes they have to rebrand themselves and they become somebody. The same thing happens to Airbnb. They also fail when they start the innovation. They failed. They have to rebrand themselves, bootstrap it again, and they follow suit. During the COVID-19, that was in the year 2020, Airbnb was one of the leading technological companies that was surviving when so many other companies were going down the rail. It's because they've learned from their past, the failure that they've had. They take the failure as a challenge for them to improve their own process and their innovation, which makes them to attain the top level of the technological strata today. So any innovation you see that is successful, go and check their background. They have failed before and they have to iterate and also pivot multiple times to achieve a breakthrough. Then the next one is feedback mechanism. Failure to serve as a feedback mechanism, that is, when you look at your failure as a feedback to you, then you'll be able to make concrete and strategize your decision. You'll be able to make concrete decision and you strategize the way you're going to carry out the decision in order to achieve your breakthrough. Then we look at risk management. Now, this is the most critical part. After you've carried out all these 8 activities, you must ensure how to manage your risk. If you don't know how to manage your risk, there is tendency for you to fail again. When you fail again, you have to pass through these processes again, do them again, then try to manage the risk. Why do you need to manage your risk? You need to manage your risk in order to what? To ensure that your innovation sorry for the break in transmission. Um, Sorry for that break in transmission. Okay. Uh, so that is what we have to talk about under risk management. So now let's go to the second field, which is learning from from failure. How do you learn from your failure? How do you learn from
Mr.
failure? Yes,
Hakeem, your camera is not working.
I can hear you.
Your camera is not working.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's
All right,
okay.
thank you. All right. Okay. Now, how do we learn from failure? How to learn from failure? One, acknowledge and accept failure. So, when you fail, you find it so hard to accept that you fail. We have a lot of people like that. They find it so hard to accept that they fail because they always have that confidence in themselves that they are always excellent. They always pass and they cannot fail. But mind you, everyone is bound to fail. Just take note of that. Everyone, no matter how exceptional you are, no matter how brilliant you are destined to fail. So when you fail, you must try as much as possible to ensure that you take up that failure. Take it as your failure, and that will enable you to go far, because once you know that you fail, it will enhance you from further failure and improve you in other ways to be able to achieve your success. Number two is analyze what went wrong. So once you accept your failure, the next thing you need to do is to what? Analyze what really went wrong that caused that failure. Check it, look at it. What am I doing wrong that caused this failure to occur in my new innovation? Once you are able to analyze this, you will be able to get exactly that information or that item or that operation that you do wrong, or that code that you've written wrongly. You'll be able to get it and know the next thing to do to achieve the goal. The next one is seek feedback. Sometimes when you analyze your problem or your failure, you might not know the feedback to get from it. You might not know what to do afterwards. You can send out uh, a form, send a Google form asking for people's feedback about your product. With that, you can know some errors and some feedback you will get from it. Include that information you derive from your analysis, include it in your research. Then your feedback will be of good thing to you. At the end of the day, you'll be able to know which areas you need to concentrate. When you look at it severally, sometimes when you make use of some mobile application, you are going to see a review at the end of the day. Why are they collecting this review? It's just to know if their innovations, the new implementation they are putting in the application, is meeting the requirement or getting to what user really need at that time. So when they get a review, the review will let them know if they are doing it right or they are doing it wrong. From there, they will know if they are failing on this side, excelling on the other side. So when they notice they are failing on the right side and they are excelling on the left hand side, they will tend to improve more on the right hand side in order to ensure that both these two sides are succeeding. The next one is reflect on your actions. Always take note of your actions. Remember, every individual has his own action, and there is a law that states that uh I've forgotten the law, pardon me, but I will say it this way because I've forgotten the exact law. I will say it this way so that I can get you the information. It states that for okay, I remember, for every action there is an opposite reaction. Yeah. So for every action you put on, remember there is always an opposite reaction. So before you carry out your action, you must reflect on it. As an innovator, as an entrepreneur, who wants to succeed in the field of technology, who wants to make sure that his innovative idea attain that global level, then you must have that reflection of action in you. Before you take any action, reflect on it. What am I going to do? If I say this, what will happen? Always think about that. If I do this, what will happen? That is why when you look at, if we are to relate it to economy, that's why you see that when the president of a country talk about something, immediately there will be a reaction outside there. Sometimes it will crumble the economy, it will bring down the economy, sometimes it will boost the economy. So for your reaction is also an action on your business. So always know what you are going to do in order to ensure that your business does not go south when you are carrying out your action. So, and when it goes south, when your reaction affects your business, always know that it is a failure. Take it and adjust on it in order to improve your business. Then the next one is extract lesson learned. Always know that for every failure, there is always a lesson. And when you have that lesson, try as much as possible. Try your best to be able to extract the exact lesson to be learned from that failure so that it won't repeat itself again. The next one is adjust your approach. Try as much as possible to adjust your own approach. Use the lesson learned to adjust your approach. Implement changes and implement and improve based on insights gained from the failure. Don't just adjust your approach anyhow. Look at the lesson learned. Can you see now? You have to look at the lesson learned. Then when you see the lesson learned, you will now adjust your own approach, change your strategy, bring it in another way around. Then it can be of good thing. If we look at it in the real life, there are some businesses whereby some products whereby when you see it, you won't buy it naturally. Or when they first came out, the kind of brand they are, you won't go into it. But immediately they rebrand themselves and you saw it, you were like, wow, I love this. You're going to buy it. So rebranding is coming from your failure. When you see your failure and you accept it, you reflect on it, and you carry out the lesson in it, then you should be able to adjust your approach in bringing it out again so that you won't face the same challenges again.
Uh, Hello, Hakeem. Is
Sorry.
your network working fine now?
Yes. Thank you. Actually, the network is somehow fluctuating. I think that's what is causing the problem. But I will try my best not to allow that to happen. The network in the in the country somehow. I think the weather is not clear today, that's why. So, but we will soon round up soon. I think we are okay. All right. So, as I said, the next thing is you have to set your goals. You have to know the kind of achievements you want to attain from what you've learned from your mistake. Now, after you've adjust your approach, then you need to set your goals. What are the things you need to achieve from these mistakes? You set the goals so that you can move along with the goals. Then you build your resilience. Like I said earlier, failure is a way of training yourself to build your resilience. But nobody likes failure. Yes, I will say this. Nobody likes failure. But when it comes, you just have to accept it, work towards it, and build your own opportunity out of that failure. By so doing, you are building your resilience in order to what improve your business. Remember, failure is never a setback. Then the last one is keep a failure journal. Always make sure that you keep a failure journal. What do they mean by that? That is, you must try to reflect on the lesson learned from your failures. If you are the kind of person that do forget the failure you encounter earlier, or you don't care about it, try to have a book. Just tag that book failure book or failure progression. Any one of the title, tag it failure progression. So when you fail, go back to that book, put it there. I failed in this so thing. What are the adjustments I need to do? So that next time when you want to do something else, first of all, go through that book to know, okay, these are the failures I've encountered. So if I want to do this new thing, I must not encounter this failure, because what you've learned before and you've solved the problem shouldn't repeat itself again as a failure. Rather, it should be it should be an additional aspect to you in terms of growth. Then the next one is stay persistent. Never feel down, or you feel weak after you failed, or you now feel like, oh, I failed the first time, I failed the second time, I'm not doing it again. No, you must be persistent. Always try again, try again, try again, because the more you try, the more you are getting close to your success. Then seek support. When you notice that you are failing and you've tried, you are not getting close to your breakthrough, try to seek support from those who know better than you, so that you can know the next thing to do when you encounter the problem, and they can easily guide you through on how to solve the current failure. Then also apply continuous improvement. When you fail, embrace and embrace the mindset of continuous improvement. Try as much as possible to make sure that your failure should serve as a catalyst for your ongoing personal and professional development. Because when you fail, it should be a means for you to go back to your book, go back to your drawing book, read, try again, try again, try again, and at the end of the day, you're going to solve the problem. So that is that on the second item. Then the third one, we have iterative design. I said iterative design is a fundamental approach in the innovation process, especially in the field like product development, software engineering, user experience design. While it can greatly enhance innovation and lead to successful outcome, it can also introduce the potential for failure. And you see that when you are iterating a particular failure, it can lead to another potential failure. So that is why you must take your time. When you are iterating, take your time to analyze your failure in order for you to be able to get the perfect outcome to be used to boost your innovation. Then let's look at the positive impact of innovation, the impact of innovation. That is, the first one we look at continuous improvement. The more you try, the more you do it again, the more you are going to get yourself improved professionally, and also your innovation will also improve in its own growth. So this should be a continuous circle, and try to get feedback. The more you are doing your continuous improvement, ensure you are getting feedback from those people making use of your innovations, so that you will know how to improve your product on a consistent approach. The second one is user-centric focus. Ensure that your iterative design process take the users in mind. Always have the user in mind when you are carrying out your iterative design. Understand what the user need, so that when you implement any functionality, the user will not endeavor to use it. They will always want to use it. So when you do exactly what the user need, they will want to use it. But when you do what the user don't need, and they try it once, they discover that they don't need it, they won't make use of it. And that is fact. And once they don't make use of it, that means that feature is a failure on your side. You need to look for another ways to do it, to improve it for that user to be able to use it regularly. The next one is reduce risk. Always try as much as possible to reduce your risk. Risk in terms of cost and also catastrophic failures. Try to identify and mitigate issues at the early stage. Don't let eagerness to push you into launching so fast. I know there are a lot of ideas everywhere. People are innovating, but your innovation can come last and be the best out of all innovations. Let's take AI for instance, ChatGTP. Facebook has been in existence, Twitter has been in existence, Google, Bing, AOL and so on, where you can search for items. You can use it to search for information online. But the moment ChatGTP comes, it comes last. Yes, it comes last. I will say it comes last. But at the long run, what happens? It overthrow every one of them. Now everybody make use of ChatGTP for all their searches. In fact, I can now say ChatGTP is the recent innovation for search engines. And that is what prompts other platforms like Google and the likes to start implementing AI into their search engines in order for them to also maintain their standard. So that is why you must know how to reduce your cost through that process, so that your failure will not repeat itself. Then faster prototyping. Creation of prototype or minimum viable product, that is MVP, facilitates rapid testing and validation of ideas. And this will lead to efficient innovation cycle. When you have good prototypes, a good MVP will ensure your efficient use of innovation. That means your innovation will come up as efficient, as effective enough to the world, and people will go after it. Even you will spend less in advertisement because it is viable, it is user friendly, and let me just say you have put in consideration all the failures that you have encountered. You have put them in consideration while developing that innovation. Through that process, your innovation will be of standard and out of failure, unless you come up with another idea within the innovation that might lead to that failure. So that is the positive impact of iterative design on innovation. Then we look at the potential for failure in iterative design. When you are creating your iterative design, what are the potential failure you can encounter? First is scope creep. What do we mean by scope creep? That is, frequent changes and refinement during iterative design can lead to scope creep. You might have a scope before. Let's say the scope is just, okay, I want to create a platform where user can buy and sell. At the long run, when you are designing, you are iterating, you began to implement, okay, when user buy, user will want to collect a balance. Okay, let me implement how to collect balance. Okay, a user might want to buy another thing, but I don't want this user to leave this place before buying another thing. Let me implement that too. With that, your design, your iteration design is creeping gradually because you are derailing from the main idea that you want to implement earlier. So by so doing, it can lead to failure. Then lack of direction. When you don't know your direction, then automatically you are heading to failure. So always know your direction when you are iterating, so that when you iterate, you will achieve the success. But when you iterate without knowing your direction, you might end up failing again. Also, user fatigue. User fatigue, that is, when you, so there are some organization, they end up changing their user interface or their user friendly experience. They normally change it often. When you change your user your UI frequently, or your
Hello everyone. The speaker is facing some network issue from his side, so he won't be able to continue this session. We will see you in the next session. Till then, stay tuned.